on this computer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarini. Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narancheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayam Uddhirayet. Nashtaprayashu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna and welcome you all to the ISKCON Mangaluru Sadachar classes. So today we'll be discussing about Lord Brahma's prayers. Yes, so we are continuing the series of the prayers from Bhagavatam, and then today we'll be actually discussing about Lord Brahma's prayers. Yeah. So now let me actually share. So this is an episode unlike any other pastime, right? I'll just give you a background of what it is, yeah, and then we'll continue. So this is the instance. So wherein this is the Krishna's pastimes when he's an 5-year-old or probably 5 to 6-year-old child, yeah. So at that time, so he was killing different demons, right? So and then he was being given because he asked Nand Maharaj to give some calves to graze, right? So he was given the calves, and he had his own Gopa friends, right? And then they went for grazing, and there one of the demon was Agasura, right? So the Python one. So we all know. So the background. So wherein the Gopas will feel thirsty and then they'll go and then they'll venture out and then Agasur will so open. It's an open this one, right? Python which opens its mouth and then Krishna enters. He waits until Krishna comes and then so Krishna kills it, right? So this episode is over. So post that, what happens is because Agasura is also one of the great demon, right? So and then why did Krishna came onto the earth is because we saw that 2 weeks or back, right? So all the demigods actually prayed uh, to Lord Krishna, and then they said that he'll have to appear because the demonic forces are more. Because Kamsa had actually built fully demonic environment, right? So wherein the demons were having the upper hand, right? And then when this Agasura was killed, right? So all the denizens and the devatas had actually assembled in the sky, and then they were actually playing burgles and then drums and everything. So they were making a lot of noise because they were so happy that another uh, demon is being killed, and then they were rejoicing like anything. And then say Lord Brahma heard this, and then they were actually praising that, oh, see, this is so wonderful act, and then the demon is being killed, and say they were actually in their um, uh, wonderland, so they were so happy. So and Krishna after killing, right? So he says that anyhow, So now this demon is killed. So let's go to our own business, because he wants to enjoy with his Gopa friends, right? So they all had their own tiffins which were packed at home. And then he said that let's go and sit nearby the Yamuna river somewhere, where in Vrindavan, right? So they had a good place, because they were grazing the calves, right? So they left that, and then they were sitting, and then said that let's have our own food. So at that time, Krishna and his Gopas, right? Krishna used to sit at this. They used to form a circle, and then they used to eat. And then Krishna used to ask, "What is there in your dabba?" So all shared lunch. Yeah. So though he's the supreme personality of Godhead, he used to enjoy the food from his friends, right? So he's eating, and then he's a small child, right? And then see, he's eating with both hands, and see, they are enjoying their own food there. Okay. And then Lord Brahma was actually doing some meditation or so, so he was not aware of all this episode. Okay. And then he just saw what has happened to these devatas, why they are rejoicing so much. Yeah. And then uh, he somehow got the information that okay, the the demon is killed, and then it was the supreme personality of Godhead who has killed, and then who is in the human form, and all those things. And Brahma said, "Okay, let me go and see." So by then he sees that Krishna is with this Gopa friends, and then he's eating in two hands. He's snatching, and then somebody is putting his the food in his mouth. And then he says that Brahma has basically seen the Vishnu form. So Vishnu form of the Vaikuntha form, basically. The 400 form is more close to. And then he says that because Lord Brahma is a very exalted devotee, right? And then he is the first born, right? And then he knows how difficult it is to actually talk to the Lord, because he had to meditate 10,000 years, right? So, and to understand so what he should do, right? So he was clueless when he was born what to do, because no one was there, everything was pitch dark. So he had to meditate, then the Lord gave him a darshan. So he's thinking that how can he looks to be a general boy, so wherein he's eating with all these things. So for Vishnu, even to offer food, right, there are so many formalities which we'll have to go through, and then there are so many mudras which we'll have to do. It's not straight away that we go and offer the food. We'll have to do so much of bhoga mantras. So many formalities are there. Yeah, how is this happening? So he says that he couldn't believe this, saying that okay, so this looks to be something fishy. So he thought in that way that because normally for Vishnu, so to offer anything and all those things is very difficult. And then how is this happening? So he was having some doubt. And then what happens is in between, mm, I think one of the cowherd boys, right? So Krishna asked for buttermilk. So one of the Madhumangal. So Madhumangal had the only buttermilk, because so he was the only poor Brahmana in that crew. So whosoever were there, right? And then he asked his mother, saying that for Krishna, what shall I take? Because he eats everyone's tiffin box and all. Then she didn't have anything, so they were very poor. So she just said that you take this buttermilk in a pot, and then you drink it. And then she says that if Krishna asks, don't tell him anything, and then you gulp it. So so Krishna asked, "Hey Madhumangal, what is there in your this one pot?" So Madhumangal tried to drink everything at once. So it so the quantity was more. So he was gulping, but some of them were in his cheeks. So it was like full. And then Krishna goes it, and then he does this touch. So he hits his cheeks, and then the buttermilk comes out, which Krishna drinks. So looking at this scene, right, Krishna says that this cannot be the Lord. So Brahma gets bewildered now. He says that no, so I'll have to do some probing here. I'll have to test because Lord Vishnu's form is very elegant, and then he'll not be doing these things. Is what he had an impression. So what he does is he sees, and then he says that yeah, I'll test it, and then I'll get to know. So what he does is he takes away all the calves, so which they were grazing, right? So he actually takes them. Okay, so how he takes is he actually uh, creates an illusion, and then so wherein the calves actually eat very tender grass, right? So he creates a lush green place wherein all the calves will move there. So then the Brahma will actually kidnap all of them. So all Krishna and his friends were eating, right? And then they all of a sudden see that the calves have moved far. So, so they wanted to see why they wanted to bring back. Then Krishna says that it's all right. So you all are eating, so don't get up. You're in middle of your meal, so you should not get up. Actually, what happens is um, in our case, usually if we are subordinate or we are junior, we usually go, right? So, but in this case, you see, the Lord Himself says that, okay, so it's all, He's enjoying the pastimes. And then He says that, okay, you all sit here, I'm going. So with those, so he has a morsel of food in his hand, and then he walks, and then he sees, and then he sees that there are no calves. Okay. And then that's Lord Krishna, right? So he knows, okay, there is something fishy here. Say, and say somebody is trying to actually play, and then he could understand that, okay, so this is Lord Brahma who was captured, and then Lord Brahma's plan was that he'll go and then he'll come in a minute. But Lord Brahma's 1 minute is what? 1 year here. So what Krishna will do is he'll expand himself into whatsoever calves were there, and then even he'll kidnap the boys also. So after that, he'll kidnap the gopas also. So Brahma will kidnap, so he'll expand himself, and then he'll create all the gopas and calves. Okay, and then they'll when it's evening, they'll go back. All all of them will go back to Vrindavan, right? And so what happens is now the love increases. So usually what happens in Vrindavan is Krishna is the center, right? So all the Brajavasis and all they were more intimate to Krishna. Now also they are, but they started loving their kids also more because he's none other again Krishna's expansions only, right? And then even the cows started liking more their calves because it's all personality of Godhead who is there. So it all went in. So 1 year passed by. Okay. And then the Brajvasis were enjoying the association of the Lord. So because the Lord himself is coming as calves and their sons. So this episode went on, and then Brahma actually comes down to see what is happening. And then he sees that same thing. So Krishna is grazing with cows, calves, he has his own friends. then Brahma goes and sees where are the kidnapped cows and calves. Are they in the same cave or not? So he goes there, he comes here. So he does a lot of up and down. Um, so he checks, he comes here. And then finally he sees that the cows and calves are there. And then here also the cows and calves are there. So by then his head is reeling and then he's totally bewildered. He's not able to understand. So what is this happening? And then after that, so Lord Krishna understood that he's having, so now Brahma is getting agitated and then he's not knowing what to do. And then he's fully bewildered. Then what happens is Lord Krishna actually shows him. So he removes the illusion and then he shows. So Brahma could see that the cowherd boys and the calves were all Vishnus and who were sitting with Lord Krishna. So then Lord Brahma realized that he has done a mistake and it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then so he gets so pissed off saying that, okay, so he repents and then he has, and Brahma is very intelligent, right? So he's known for his intelligence, yeah. So and then he has four heads also, so it's not unlike us, yeah. And he himself felt very bad, and then he felt straight on the feet of the Lord, right? And then these prayers start. Okay, so this is a beautiful pastime which goes on, and then this is called Brahma Vimohan Leela, right? So here there are a lot of text. We'll go only one or two important purports, and rest all will read this text. Okay, Prabhu. So now you see how Lord Brahma actually prays now, because he knows that uh, so he's caught, right? So first he tries to actually glorify the Lord, right? And then so that's how things happen, right? And then he'll tell a lot of things. Okay, say how can you be angry on me because I am part of yourself? I'm it. It should be like so. We are like small children, or say the babies who actually kick in the womb of the mother, and then will the mother feel bad? So he comes in lot many directions, and then at last he'll actually tell him that what am I? So I couldn't understand your so opulences, and then he'll say that I'm like a moth. So the light insect, right? So which has only a lifespan in the night. So he comes with a lot of narrations, yeah. So we'll go through that. These are beautiful. So Lord Brahma said, "My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue, like a new cloud." Okay. So now he's actually glorifying the Lord. Yeah. So he's first praying obeisances, and then he's saying that your your formation is like a new cloud. Yeah. So your garment is brilliant like lightning, and your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feathers of your head. So he is glorifying all the. So in Bhagavatam, we get to know the personal features of the Lord, right? So like even in it was whose Bhishma Stuti also, he says that Pitambar color of garments, right? And then say bluish black color, right? So you see all of them are same. and then Gunja earrings. Even there also there is something which Bhishma glorifies, and then even this is Damodar month, right? So even there also we sing Rasat Kundalam, right? So everything is special for Krishna. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. So he has not left that. Yeah. So and then what happens is in that pastime, right? So I'll cover that at the end then. So let's just finish. So he still having that morsel of food which he was having with his friends. My dear Lord, neither I nor anyone else can estimate the potential of this transcendental body of yours. So he's saying that it's very difficult, Krishna, to actually know about your uh, transcendental body of yours, which has shown mercy to me and appears just to fulfill the desires of your pure devotees. Although my mind is completely withdrawn from material affairs, I cannot understand your personal form. You see, Brahma, he himself cannot understand the personal form. Yeah? So, what are we actually? So, we are nothing. So, how then could I possibly understand the happiness you are experienced with yourself? So, it's, the Lord only gives special privileges to very pure devotees. It's not. I think we got some blessings of Guru and Guru Parampara from Prabhupada. So we are reading his text. Fortunate to read all these things. Else, who are we to read these things? Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and their body, words, and minds, offer all respect to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by your personally and by your devotees. Certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. So he says that you are not conquerable by anyone in these three worlds. Yeah. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path of self-realization. So here he says, so if in the purport actually it's been said about Gyanis and Yogis, because Gyanis and Yogis have material goals, right? So they always want to show themselves great, right? So with their mystic powers or so, so they have an hidden agenda. But he says that devotional path is the one which is best for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, so this is nothing but jnana. He will simply undergo to troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. So those things will not work out. So because he'll go and then enter into the Brahma Jyoti, right? So wherein so doesn't help. So as a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grains. This is the situation of Jnanis and Yogis. So they're beating the husk. It's an empty husk where you will not get the grains. The one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. He gains only trouble. So this is again about non-devotees. And then in time, learned philosophers or scientists might be able to count all the atoms of the earth, the particle of snow, or perhaps even the shining molecule radiating from the sun, stars, and other luminaries. But among these learned men, who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you? So he's saying that the scientists may do, say Elon Musk or others, say they'll actually do a lot of things and then say they'll be able to get these all things. But how can the transcendental qualities possessed by you be known? Yeah. so science and all will advance, but where will it go? Is what, but they'll not be able to understand the transcendental qualities possessed by the Lord. Yeah. So, my dear Lord, one who, so we'll read this. This is nice. So we'll read this purport. Tatte anukampam susamikshmanu bhunjan evatam kritam vipakam hridvagavapurбhir vidhadan namaste जीवेतयो मुक्तिपदे सादाय भक. That therefore they your anukampam compassion samikshamana earnestly hoping for bhunjana enduring eva certainly atmakritam done by himself vipakam the furtive results hrit with his heart vak words vapurbihi and body vidadhan offering nama obeisances they unto you Jiveta, lives, Yaha, anyone who Muktipade of the positions of liberation, Saha, he, Dayabhak, the rightful, here. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your costless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offerings, you respectfully and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Okay. So, who is actually waiting patiently? So, it's not that there is some pain and then, okay, so we'll move out. So, that doesn't help in. So, in bhakti also, so there will be a lot of obstacles. So, who waits, right? And who waits patiently, right? For them only the Lord gives ye yatha mam prapadyante, right? Then the Lord actually responds, and they become the rightful heirs, or they, for it has become his rightful claim. Prabhu can read this purport, no?
Hare Krishna, well read. Srila Sridhara Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simplify, remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. The word Susamikshamana indicates that a devotee earnestly awaits the mercy of the Supreme Lord even while suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. The Lord Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. The purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord, and therefore the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically the design to curtail the mentality that produced that activity. Although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of the world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this, the remaining enjoying spirit. The unhappiness suffered by the sinful devotee is not
Sincere,
technically
Prabhu.
unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of material world and return home back to Godhead. A sincere devotee earnestly the desires to go back to the Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues offering respect and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, words, and body. Such a bona fide, the servant of the Lord, considering all hardship, a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of Lord. Certainly, the becomes a legitimate son of God, as indicated here by the words Daya Bhag. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the supreme pure Lord Krishna without understanding a rigid purific- purificatory process, which may appear like suffering, but which is not, which is in fact a curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord.
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here, so it's been said that whatever pains, right? So one who simply remains alive in following the regulative principle automatically becomes. So even Prabhupada says, right? So if you follow the four regs and then you chant 16 rhymes, you'll go back to the Godhead, right? So it is his promise, right? And so if we do it properly, right? So if we do it properly, then Prabhupada has given us the path, right? So, and the other thing is here, there'll be some reactions or so there'll be some suffering, right? So it's not that I'm chanting and then say I'm in Krishna consciousness and then I'll not have any say sufferings, right? So they'll be there. So that's what here it's been mentioned. So, but they are not from the karmic reactions, right? So there'll be, and so Krishna will actually give us some portion of punishments because we are here to get punishments only, right? And then basically, whatever say pain or something which we are getting, right? So it is actually for the good of the devotees only. So he's making us, he's purifying us, and he's making us ready. So if we pass that particular obstacle, and then still, if we have, if we are not living the Krishna consciousness, and then say we are moving ahead, right? Then the Lord will actually take care, right? So the Lord says that whosoever is dependent on me, right, I take care of them, right? Yoga kshemam vahamyam, right? So that's the Lord which He says in, right? Okay. So this is one of the important words, yeah, so which everyone should know in. And then, my Lord, just see my uncivilized impudence. To test your power, I tried to extend my illusory potency to cover you, the unlimited and primeval soul, who bewilder even the master of illusion. What can I compare to you? I am just like a small spark in the presence of great fires. So this is what he says. So, so and then the other thing is, so we should not think Lord Brahma and we are on the same plane. Yeah. So no, Lord Brahma is far, 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 far away. So he's fully liberated soul, and then so we can never compare ourselves with. Lord Brahma. So at times they get illusioned, and then the Lord creates these pastimes because He wants to teach us. So that's the reason they actually act sometime in that way. So that is again the Lord who does it. Yeah. So, but they are they are far more superior. So we should never think that Brahma is like normal jiva and also that's not the thing. Yeah. And then he says that what am I? So Brahma, Lord Brahma, who is known as our grandfather, right? So who is the great grandfather? So he's the grandfather. So he has only he's the creator of all these species, right? 8 lakh 40,000. And then he himself says that he is like a small spark in the great fire. So what are we? So we are nothing. He feels a spark, then we should actually compare our position. Yeah. Therefore, oh infallible Lord, kindly excuse my offenses. I have taken birth in the mode of passion, and I am therefore simply foolish, presuming myself a controller independent of your lordship. So for some time he felt that he is the controller. But yes. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which caused me to think myself as the unborn creator of the universe. But please consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. So he's actually praying now. He's saying that whatever he's repenting, whatever I have done is wrong, and then please forgive me. Yeah. So what am I? What am I? A small creature measuring 7 spans of my own hand. I am enclosed in a pot-like universe composed of material nature. The total energy, false ego, earth, air, and water, and earth. Right? And what is your glory? Unlimited universes pass through the pores of your body. So he says that from your body, right, the unlimited pores come out. So we know that Kannada Vishnu. So with his breathing only, all these things happen, right? So he's lying, and then from his pores, all this universes come out, and then he says that I'm one of them. Your body, your pores of your body, just as particles of dust pass through the opening of screen window, and then I'm sitting in one of them. Oh Lord Adokshaja. So does a mother take offense when the child within her womb kicks with the legs? So he's giving so many comparisons. And is there anything in existence, whether designated by various philosophers as real or as unreal, that is actually outside your abdomen? So this is also a very beautiful part. So here he says that Srila Prabhupada comments as follows in this verse. In Krishna, verse in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chapter 14. Lord Brahma therefore compared himself to a little child within the womb of his mother. If the child within the womb plays with with his hands and legs, and while playing touches the body of the mother, is the mother offended with that child? Is asking, and rather the mother becomes happy, right? Because there is some movement of the child, right? Of course, she is, and similarly, Lord Brahma may be a very great personality, and yet not only Brahma, but everything that be is existing within the womb of the Supreme Personality of God. And so everything is emanating from the Lord. So the Lord's energy is all pervading. There is no place in the creation where He is not acting. So we know, right? So nothing moves. Even a blade of grass doesn't move without the permission of the Lord. Yeah. For us also, if we are moving hands, legs, whatever, it is due to the sanctioning of the super soul. Since everything is existing within the energy of the Lord, the Brahma of the universe and Brahmas of many other millions and trillions of universes are existing within the energy of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord is considered to be the mother. And therefore, and everything existing in the womb of a mother is considered to be the child. So because everything is emanating from him, right? So he's comparing in that way. And the good mother is never offended with the child, even if he touches the body of mother by kicking his legs. So he's saying that you should not get offended. Yes, I've done a wrong thing, but yeah, you should consider me as a small child. Yeah. And so, my dear Lord, it is said that when the three planetary systems are merged into water at the time of dissolution, your plenary portion Narayana lies down on the water. Gradually, a lotus flower grows from the navel, and Brahma takes birth upon that lotus flower. Certainly, these words are not false. Thus, am I not born from you? So he's still saying that. So you treat me as your child, yeah, and then forgive me. So I'm born out of you, right? So help me. So this goes on, yeah. My dear Lord, my dear Lord, if your transcendental body which shelters the entire universe is actually lying up on the water, and then why were you not seen by me when I searched for you? And why, though I could not envision you properly with my heart, did you then certainly reveal yourself? So he's asking so many things. Yeah. So here, Lord Brahma here refers to his experience at the dawn of cosmic creation. So we actually just spoke in crisp, right? So wherein he didn't knew what to do when he was all alone. As described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma took birth on the seat of a giant lotus, whose stem emanated from the navel of Narayana. Brahma was as bewildered as to his whereabouts. So he didn't know from where what is happening, right? So who is he? What should he do? His function and identity. Therefore, he tried to trace out the source of the lotus stem. So he tried to dive into the water, searching for the clear information. But he couldn't find anything. Unable to find the personality of God, and he returned back. So he went and then he couldn't understand anything, and then he went back again. He went to his seat and then he did severe austerities, having been ordered to do so by the transcendental voice, which he heard. So he heard only two letters, Ta and Pa. After long meditation, Brahma saw the Lord, then again lost sight of him. Thus, Brahma concludes that the transcendental body of the personality of Godhead is not material, rather eternal, spiritual, form endowed with inconceivable mystic potencies. In other words, Lord Brahma should not have challenged the personality of Godhead, the Lord of all mystic powers. That's what happens. Have you not shown me today that both yourself and everything within the creation are manifestations of your inconceivable potencies? Okay. He says, first you appeared alone and then you manifested yourself as all the Vrindavan cows and cowherd boys. So he says that you have this is all inconceivable. Who can do that, right? Your friends next to you appeared as an equal number of 400 forms who are worshipped by all living beings, including me. And after that, you appeared as an equal number of complete universes. Finally, you have now returned to your unlimited form of the absolute truth, one without a second. So this is what happens. And then what will happen is then Brahma releases everyone, and so the cowherd boys and calves. So what happens is again Krishna, right? So he's standing with the same. So when he went, right? So again they are in that same mood. So Krishna actually created some again illusion. So they were sitting and then they are still having their lunch. And then Krishna actually walks back to them, and then they say that, "Oh, Krishna, you came so early. Come, let's have complete this lunch." Yeah? So they didn't knew that an year has been passed and everything. And then say while going home, he actually shows a small skin of Agasura, which was on his hand, and then he says, "See, this is the skin of Agasura." So Yeah, and then the cowherd boys remembered, yes, in the morning only you killed Agasura, and then they went to their homes and then they told the stories. So that is the Lord. And so he says, O Supreme Great One, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, Master of all mystic power, your pastimes are taking place continuously in these three worlds. But who can estimate where, how, and when you are employing your spiritual energy and performing these innumerable pastimes? Even now, there is a pastime which might be happening in this innumerable spiritual worlds, but who knows? No one can understand the mystery of your spiritual acts. Yeah, and then we'll see this. The conception of material bondage and the conception of liberations are both manifestation of ignorance. Okay, being out of the scope of true knowledge, they cease, they exist when one correctly understands that the pure spirit soul is distinct from the matter and always fully consciousness. At that time, bondage and liberation no longer have any significance, just as the day and night have no significance for the from the perspective of the sun. Let us see. Prabhu, just read this Parpatna once.
Prabhu. Material bondage is illusion because the living entity actually has no real relationship with the material world. Because of false ego, the conditional soul identifies himself with matter. Therefore, so called liberation is simply the giving up of an illusion rather than the release from actual bondage. Yet, even if we think that the suffering of material illusion is real and that liberation is thus a meaningful release from suffering, the mere absence of material existence is still insignificant compared to the achievement of factual spiritual life, which is the positive eternal reality opposed to the negative illusion of material life. Ultimately, Krishna consciousness or pure love of Godhead is the only significant, meaningful, and permanent status for every living entity. Since the darkness of night is called by the absence of the sun, one would not experience night within the sun itself, nor would one experience individual days separated by nights. Similarly, within the pure living entity, uh, there is no material darkness and thus no experience of liberation from such darkness. When the conditional soul comes to the platform of pure consciousness, he becomes fit to associate with the Supreme Pure, the personality of Godhead Himself, in the Lord's own abode. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So here it's been clearly mentioned, right? So what will happen? So if you are getting liberated, right? So only thing you're doing is so-called liberation is nothing but giving the illusion, but the actual bondage is still there. Yeah. So there is no point in doing that. So here it is meant at the time of and then he says that it is just like the darkness, right? Of night is caused by the absence of sun, right? So when sun is not there, there is night, right? And then see the pure living entities is no material darkness and thus so we should get out of this. Yeah, we should always be in the sunlight only. So we should always remove our darkness which we are upholding for the material bondage, right? Material bondage is nothing but maya, so which is darkness, illusion, right? So we should actually always light up ourselves with bhakti. So that's the thing. So we should have full conscious. So there is no point that day comes and then again night comes in, right? So we should always be illumined. So my lord, if One is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you. Even they cannot, even they continue to study the Vedas for many years. So unless there is, if you speculate, years will pass away, but nothing is going to happen. You can never enjoy. And then he says now, how fortunate the Vrajvasis are because they are playing with you, and then say that you're sharing food with them, and then he'll say that say if there is a possibility, s- say in the next life, make me or say give me an opportunity, say wherein I can actually be a servant of servant. So he doesn't want to serve the Lord, but he says that either as a grass or some whatever. Uh, so he actually now he shares his, now he glorified, then he says that he repented, and now he's asking the actual thing, what does he want? So now he says that so he says that now you see, he says that if I am fortunate in another life where I'll take by birth, I may be counted one of your devotees. I pray that where I may be even among the animal species, I can engage in devotional service on your lotus feet. So if I am becoming an animal also, it's fine, but he wants to serve him. Yeah. He says, see, oh Almighty Lord, how greatly fortunate are the cows and ladies of Vrindavan, the nectar of whose breast milk you have happily drunk to your full satisfaction, taking the form of their calves and children. Yeah. All the Vedic sacrifice performed from time immemorial up to the present day have not given you as much satisfaction. So they're saying how fortunate they are. So how greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherdman, and all other inhabitants of Rajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal supreme Brahman, has become their friend. So he's saying how fortunate they are. So yet, even though the extent of good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are almost fortunate because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavana are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. Eh? My greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth, whatever in the forest of Gokul, and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of the residents. So he's saying, so if I get the dust of the residents of Vraja, the entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Mukunda, the dust of whose feet is still being searched for in the Vedic mantras. I think in the past we had this question, right? So what is the significance of the dust of Raja, right? So this is the significance which Lord Brahma is telling. This verse indicates that Lord Brahma desires to take birth even as the smallest blade of grass in Vrindavan, so that the holy residents of the Lord's abode may walk upon his head and bless him with the dust of their feet. So he's saying that he wants the dust of the holy residents of Vrindavan. Yeah. Being realistic, Lord Brahma does not aspire to directly achieve the dust of Lord Krishna's feet. Rather, he aspires for the mercy of the Lord's devotees. You see, he's not seeking the dust of the Lord directly, rather, his devotees. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Brahma is willing to take birth even as a stone in a paved footpath in the Lord's abode. Since Brahma is the creator of the entire universe, we can just imagine the glories of the residents of Vrindavan. So this is what Vrindavan is, and then why Vrindavan is so special, why the dust is so special. Yeah. The Lord's devotees achieve their exalted position by unalloyed devotion and love. One cannot achieve such spiritual opulences by any puffed up material process of personal improvement. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada reveals the mind of Brahma as follows. But I am not so fortunate to take birth within the forest of Vrindavan. Okay. I beg to be allowed to take birth outside the immediate area of Vrindavan so that the devotees go out. They will walk over me. Even that would be a great fortune for me. I am just aspiring for a birth in which I will be smeared by the dust of the devotees' feet. So he's saying that I want the dust of the devotees, of the pure devotees. Yeah. So now he goes on, and then he'll actually conclude here. So he's actually glorifying the Vrindavan Vasis, and then he says that I so give me a chance so that I can all so I can take the dust of them. Yeah. My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, the material attachment and desires remain thieves. Their homes remain prisons. Yeah. You see, until we have attachments, right? Our homes will become prisons. If you're too attached to your house, right, then you're a prisoner in that house. And the affectionate feelings of their family members even put shackles. And then if you're too attached to your family, then you're bound with the shackles. You cannot move. Yeah. So these are all the material attachments. So unless we become the devotees, and then we make our family members also, so then things would be better. So that's what it's been. If you read the purport, right, you'll understand. He says that. So we should dovetail the family members. See, conversely, if we engage our family members in loving service of the Lord, our endeavors to maintain our family becomes part and parcel of our progressive spiritual duties. You got it? So why? So one way is if we are actually attached to the family and society, they'll become shackles. Conversely, if we engage our family members in loving service of the Lord, right, then it becomes much more easy. Yeah. So the solution is this. So we'll have to make the family also a part and parcel of our spiritual duty. So in that way, it will not be a shackle. Solution is also being given.
I did that, Prabhu.
Yeah. Is it, Prabhu?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I
good.
took 1 year
Okay.
effort.
Okay. But that's good, no, Prabhu. So
Yeah, that is good. In between, so many things have happened, but nevertheless, but finally, I got it what I wanted.
that's how. So if everyone works for the common goal, right, it's very easy. And
Mm. It's all because of his blessing. If he desires,
yeah,
he'll make it happen.
that's mercy. So
Mm.
unless we
Now
get
they
the.
are more serious than me.
Oh, okay. That's very good, no, Prabhu. So we
They
need
do
that.
fasting, all these.
Nice. So, my dear master, although you have nothing to do with material existence, you come on this earth and imitate material life just to expand the varieties of ecstatic enjoyment for your surrender. So now he says here, my dear Krishna, I humbly request permission to leave. Actually, you are the knower and seer of all the things. Indeed, you are the Lord of all the universe, and yet I offer this one universe unto you. So he's seeking, and then he says that, "Oh, please allow me." Yeah. So with this, we end actually the prayers of Lord Brahma. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, anything you want to ask, or shall we wind up?
We'll wind up, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you for your association. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks so much.